Okay, so yesterday I did a very sort of rambling and incoherent video about me sort of messing around with some George Van Epps stylings vaguely. Today my hair has gone completely crazy, and I've decided to do a slightly more coherent video about the basic technique of this. So what is it? Well, it's 1930s style guitar chord solos. Okay, I mean that's the sort of style that most people played in big bands and stuff, because chords project more and they fatten the sound out a bit, and they were it's just generally the way people played back then. Van Epps' first book, The Guitar Method, really talks about ways in which you can develop that style. So it's a triadic style. It's based on major and minor triads and diminished triads, unlike kind of modern jazz harmony, which has all sorts of chords. It's quite sort of old school sort of sound. You might think it's corny if you're not used to it, but obviously that's useful if you're sort of playing vintage style music. But if you're interested in sort of developing chord melody in a more modern style, I think it's still useful to study, because until you can do this kind of basic stuff with triads, I think to sort of then go into more complicated chords is going to be tricky. And also because you can look at triads as being part of seventh chords and more complex structures, polychords and so on. So once you've got a command of triads, there's a lot you can do with it. So I'm just going to take you through a very simple exercise, which is kind of loosely drawn from from the first Van Epps book. When I get a book, I try to look at it and understand what the concept is behind the exercises, so that it helps me remember them, and it helps me sort of run my own permutations and sort of variations on these things, so I can hopefully internalize it better. Just the way I kind of work. Some people might prefer just to go through the exercises and learn that way. But I'm going to teach you about the logic of it today. So the logic is really very simple. You've got two ingredients. The first one is the chords, which are, as I say, triads. So today we're going to use the G major triad on strings 2, 3 and 4. And there are 3 inversions on this, well, on any string group, but on this particular string group we have 3 inversions. And the first one is this, which is the second inversion, going D, G, B. The root position, which is G, B, D. And then the first inversion, which is B, D, G. Like that, okay? And those, and you can repeat again at the 12th fret with the second inversion. So those are your 3/4 chord shapes for today. Right. Now you have the melodic content, which goes over the top. So that is drawn from the major scale for today, and it's a major scale starting on B. So it goes B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and then A, and then B coming down. It's a very good idea to learn these scales along one string as well as across. Numerous guitarists talk about why that's a good idea, including everybody from Jim Hall to Scott Henderson. So it's a good thing to learn. Django often played along one string as well. So now we can sort of put that together with the chords. And to do that, we have a rhythmic concept. So it's like the 3 aspects of music: melody, harmony, and rhythm. So rhythm is like in swing, jazz, and Dixieland and things like that, the guitar is playing straight 4s, which is just quarter notes or crotchets, Freddie Green style, that kind of thing. If we're just using one chord, it'd be this. Ooh, slightly out of tune today. Apologies for anybody with perfect pitch. Okay, so we have these basic ingredients. So we have that sort of crotchet pulse going on with the chords, jump, 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 jump. This kind of George Van Epps style, I think even later on, to my ears, sounds like he wants to kind of keep the crotchets going in the chords, while also playing a melody over the top, which might involve quavers or eighth notes. So an example of that might be, I don't know, just playing a eighth note line. The G major scale might be. something like that, or as opposed to. So putting these two elements together means that you have two kinds of things. You've got the melody together with the chords, and you've got the melody notes separate from the chords. So I'll give you an example of that. I'll explain it in a second. So where we're going is it. Now notice that I'm using downstroke for the chord and upstroke for the melody note on the offbeat, which is quite interesting in itself. It seems to be natural to do it that way. So it's almost like alternate picking. And what we do is we play, the first exercise, we play the chord tone and the chord together, and then we play a scale tone, and then we play a chord tone and the chord together again, then a scale tone, and so on. So we'll do that for the first bit. So that's your first chord, and we play the C on top of that, which is not a chord tone. Then we go up to the next inversion with the chord tone together, and we play a non-chord tone, E, which is outside the G major triad. And then we play, and we come to a problem because the next note we've got is not a part of the G major triad, so we're going to skip it for now. We're going to go straight to, from F, that's F sharp by the way, we're going to skip it and go straight to G. So instead of going, we're going to go, which is actually a George Van Eps exercise and you should play that, but we're going to do it slightly differently right now. We'll do that. Just to keep it really orderly, so it goes chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone. And then we go, I guess we can go down going chord tone. Oh, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously it reverses when you go down. You go scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone. So it goes the other way around. You're putting the dissonant note on the beat that time. So we can verse that around when we come down. We can go, well, actually, we're going to do it going this way. So we go. Reverse the one going up as well, so you could go, okay, well, we're going to start on the scale tone, resolves to the chord tone. So scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone. So that's one example of one of the different variations you can do. You can. So you can put the F sharp in as well. So we go chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone, chord tone, scale tone. And it's good to practice all of these different variations because it gives you freedom. Needless to say, you should do this in all 12 keys, and also, perhaps more relevantly for the guitar, do it in different string groups as well. So you should only in tune. This guitar is slightly sharp, I do apologise. Like that. Same as you, let's say you're, and then you can extend the range of it. Eventually you're going to get bored of doing one chord and you're going to want to move into like doing more than one chord, so you're going to need chord progression. So you could start playing around with, maybe 5 ones. Van Eps has some really nice exercises based on scales. Or you can do different positions for that. You can sort of play around with 1, 6, 2, 5s. But keeping the same kind of rhythm going through all the way. This is a work in progress for me. I've only just started it, really, maybe a few months back, and I can see that it will be going on for years to come. But the George Van Eps method book is very good for talking about different ways of fingering things and making sure that everything stays legato, because that's really important. You want the chords to flow, and I think Van Eps was really the absolute master of that. I don't think many people have got that flow in their chordal playing, apart from maybe Kurt Rosenwinkel and a few other people.